Hey there, folks. How you doing? Michael Zuber, One Rental at a Time. So I was invited to a real estate meetup. It was obviously going to be virtual over Zoom. And the topic was how to get rich, how to get wealthy. They wanted to talk about the story of one rental at a time, how we went from a single family home to financial freedom, how we replaced two six-figure incomes, how we live in one of the most expensive parts of the world, the Silicon Valley, and yet still we're able to achieve financial freedom. So what I'm doing here is I'm doing this as a practice, a dry run. I'm recording this before the event. I will publish this Saturday afternoon so that it is out there for the world to see. But again, this is going to be how to get rich, how to get wealthy in 3 steps. And I'm going to go through each of the steps and relate our story. This dry run will probably be 45 minutes. It will be, I think it's 12 or 13 slides. I'm going to go through it like I would do a presentation, like you were attending the meetup. This is a dry run, so I might slip up a little bit. If you like these and you want to show support, give me a thumbs up early. Give me some encouragement. If you like original content about investing, you like original content about money, realize that I'm here for you. I do all my stuff live, no editing. I do a daily financial show 7 days a week. I show you what's going on in my business with walkthroughs. I'm here to answer questions. I do expert interviews. I do lots of stuff for you. So do me a favor, hit subscribe. And then finally, I think this is going to be a video that you share. If you're interested in the real estate world and you know others that want to get rich, please share this video. Copy the link, share it around, have people come back and look at it. I really hope this is one of those videos that gets 1,000 views inside 24 hours. Let's see. Help me with that. That'd be great. Again, this is how to get rich, how to get wealthy in 3 steps. So let me bring it up. Again, this is a dry run for a meetup. And if you run a real estate meetup anywhere in the world, let me know. I would love to be a guest. I have done a show in Australia. I've done a show in Canada. But anywhere in the world, if you would like to have a guest that talks about being a landlord, wealth, financial freedom, reach out. I would love to do more virtual meetups, Zoom calls with whoever around the world. Let's reach out. Let's set them up. So here's the dry run. One rental at a time. It's the book. It's the YouTube channel. It's Instagram. But how to create wealth in 3 easy steps. So first and foremost, just a little plug for who I am. The author of One Rental at a Time. It's our 15-year journey from a single house to financial freedom. You can find me on YouTube, which is where you probably found this video, One Rental at a Time. I do have an Instagram page, so if you have Instagram, give me a quick follow. That would be great. Again, One Rental at a Time. And then something I'm extremely proud of is Forbes, the real estate council, identified my book, One Rental at a Time, as one of the number 30 essential book to read before getting started. They created a list of the top 15, and my book, that one right there, was book number 3. Totally amazing accomplishment. If you want to get your copy, you can go to Amazon or you can go to Audible if you'd rather listen. All right. So wealth creation, let me explain. It's 3 steps. I believe it takes focus, consistent effort, and time. I'm going to go through each of these in detail. I'm going to walk through them. But in a nutshell, getting rich, creating wealth is focus. You got to use your time wisely. Nobody has an extra day stretcher. You've got to be consistent. You can't get rich doing something every 3rd Thursday of the month. You've got to be consistent. And then finally, you have to let time go by. You've got to be consistent for time. You got to stay focused, but you got to let time go by. Inflation, mortgage pay down, rent increases, all of these things. I'm going to go through our journey. I'm going to relate these back to focus, consistent effort, and time. So let's get started. So what are we going to do together? First, we're going to talk about understanding the middle-class mindset and how we changed from the middle-class mindset to financial freedom. And again, we are going to look at focus, consistent effort, and time. It's a 15-year journey for us. It took 15. It didn't take 5. It didn't take 7. We, again, live in the Silicon Valley. It took us 15 years because we had to replace 2 six-figure incomes. If we lived in almost Any other part of the world, we could have been done in 7 or 8 years, maybe 5. But again, because we live in the Silicon Valley where housing is ridiculous and everything else is stupid, it took us 15 years. We're going to talk about why many investors never start. A lot of you watching this may have stumbled across this video or others I've done, and you're like, I'm confused. I don't know where to go. I don't know how to start. I have a whole page in this presentation just for you. I'm also going to go into what do I recommend, and you can bet they're going to key on focus, consistent effort, and time. I'm going to tackle a couple of myths. I think it is very dangerous what I see going on in YouTube University and Bigger Pockets. Trust me, you can go broke buying cheap. You can go broke thinking bigger is better. You can go broke with Burr, and you can go broke out of state. You can also succeed in all of those, but I do not think there's enough people telling you the truth. Again, you can go broke buying cheap. You can go broke buying bigger is better. You can go broke with Burr, and you can go broke out of state. And then because this is a real estate meetup, I'm going to cover 3 topics that the owner of the group sent. His name is Sid. We will go through these together because you're getting the full dry run. But again, if you have a real estate meetup anywhere in the world and you want me to cover some topics, I'm happy to do this for you as well, whatever you would like to discuss. Sid, again, is a California investor, so he wanted me to talk about rent control. He wanted to talk about 2021 and, of course, hedge funds. So we will do that together. So the middle class mindset, it is so dangerous. I don't know about you, but this is often thought of out there. Go to school, get a good job, have a family, make good money, buy a house, buy nicer cars, etc., etc., etc. I lived this life until I was 30 years old. I had just started making 6 figures right before I turned 30, and I'm here to tell you we were spending every penny. It is embarrassing to look back on that time and realize how stupid I was with money. I think we need to also acknowledge that the rat race is real. And the biggest part of the rat race is the wheel inside the race. We control how big it is. When you leave school, the wheel might be $2,000 a month. Then you get a house and it's $4,000 a month. Then you get a car and it's $4,800. And then you have private school and it's this, and then it's this, and then it's this. The bigger you let your wheel get, the faster you have to run. And unfortunately, the easier it is, it's going to kill you. It's going to either kill you physically or it's going to kick you out during a recession. Our job, we have to think about keeping our wheel small. Frankly, I tell high school seniors all the time, can you live on $2,000 a month? All of them say yes. Now, of course, they don't know what things cost, but it's a great idea. If you can live on $2,000 a month at 18 and you can stick to that for 7 years, I promise you, you can be financially free by the time you're 25. Think about that. Again, we'll talk about this because it's part of our story. And again, it's amazing how this relates to today. I was a .com trader. I was a day trader back in the day. I turned $7,000 into $198,000. I have a financial statement or a monthly closing statement that shows that. And then by the next month, it was all gone, or most of it. It turned into 40 grand. I think there's a lot of people that have been investing in this pandemic and don't bet against the Fed and made a killing. But don't stay in it too long. I did. And the .com crazies crushed me. I could have done a lot with 198 grand. Man, I still feel like a fool. Rich Dad, Poor Dad single-handedly changed and set me on a new path. Rich Dad, Poor Dad doesn't tell you what to do. It changes your mindset. But if you want to know what to do, I wrote One Rental at a Time as the follow-on to Rich Dad, Poor Dad. It's like, okay, great. I read Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Now what? Well, that's what my book is. It's okay. I read it. What did I do? What is everything I did, good or bad, throughout the process? It's in that book. You got to start living below your means, and you got to be consistent at it. It's earn, save, invest, repeat. People, we have to spend less. When I started, I wish I could tell you I had this big vision of financial freedom. I didn't. All I knew was I wanted one. If you really push me, I could tell you I was thinking about getting to 4 or 5, but that's as far as I could let my mind go. I had no idea what would happen. I didn't know that I could get more than one, but I knew I was going to get one. That was what I was destined to do after reading that book. But I read more books and more books and more books. And back in the day, they all said invest 30 minutes from home. Again, I've said it a few times now. I live in an expensive part of the world. I wasted an entire year, 52 Sundays, looking for that magic property. They don't exist in expensive markets. So I needed to do something else. So we found Fresno, California by drawing circles around our house. Fresno's 2.5 hours away. And that's where the story began. In reality, our first property almost killed our dreams. It was terrible. We bought a house for 107. We rented it for 1,100. Yay, 1% rule. But the tenants move in. They never pay rent again. Turns out they got a divorce 2 weeks after they moved in. The wife took off, never saw her again. The husband stops going to work. Husband stops paying rent. Husband becomes an alcoholic and destroys our property. I invest in California, which means it took about 75 days to get him out. So we had to spend $1,000 on an attorney. We lost now 3 months of rent. And when he left, we had a $15,000 repair bill. I was convinced that Olivia, who is my better half and really the anchor of this story, what do you want to do? And she said, did we do anything wrong? We didn't. We did all the credit checks, reference checks, all of that. There's just no checkbox for, are you getting a divorce? So we just buckled up and we kept going. And that house turns out to be great. You can actually check it out. It's 1818 Norris Drive East, Norris Drive East, 93703. Go look it up on Zillow. You can see we bought it for 107 and ultimately sold it for 264, I think. Like in 4 years, you can see it on Zillow. So that property, again, after it started horribly and almost crushed us, ended up allowing us to 1031 exchange it to much bigger properties. And that's how we were able to really kickstart our journey to financial freedom. So here's our journey. Again, we went from a single family to almost 200 units at the peak. We're not quite at 200 anymore. We sold a couple of apartments during 2019, but still have plenty. We only had 8 properties. We actually had 8 doors. That should say 8 doors. We had 7 properties. We had 6 houses in 1 duplex for 8 units or 8 doors. So that should say 7 properties, but you know what I mean. The affordability index saved us. If you happen to be in California, do yourself a favor and look at the California Association of Realtors, CAR. Their affordability index is produced monthly. Most importantly, it's been produced for decades. So you can go look at Fresno's California Association of Realtors affordability index for the California market of Fresno, and you can see how it goes up and down. And when it goes down, that means prices are getting unaffordable. So what we did, thanks to Bruce Norris, who is a legendary SoCal investor who now resides in Florida, big fan of Bruce Norris, we sold. Technically, we exchanged. We did some 1031 exchanges, and we grew our portfolio from 8 doors to 80. And the beauty of this story is it's no new capital. We didn't have any more capital, but that was an important part. So we lived a single family housing crash. We saw Norris Drive. Again, if you look it up on Zillow, we bought for 107. It sold for 264. It crashed all the way to 75. Fresno got smoked. In addition to that, lending tightened up. So if you've been investing for a while, you know that lenders tightened up in March, April of 2020. Good news is I've seen it before and I knew it was coming because lending tightened up on us as well. Deals were everywhere. 2010 was our biggest, baddest year, and buyers were nowhere to be found. Everybody was scared. We've raised millions of dollars in private money, just our friends and family. They like what we're doing. In 2010, we were paying 10% interest. Today, we pay our friends and family 6 and 20, which means we give them 6% interest only. and then we give them 20% of the profit. Again, if you need to understand private money, it's a big help to your business, but make sure you take care of your lenders, your friends and family, make sure they're protected, named on insurance, deed of trust, first position. It's all things that are paramount to us. We've bought houses through 20 unit apartments. The biggest thing we own and bought was 20 units. So we don't talk about anything else. I've never bought 100 units. I've never bought a 50 unit. So I can only tell you about what we've done. Hedge funds came in and changed the market. We were rolling along pretty well in 2010 or 11. We were getting used to the process of every Monday, a new batch of struggling properties would come on. And then one day there was none. And then Tuesday there was none. And finally we called some agents and said, you know what? Hedge funds are buying everything sight unseen. So we're thinking about Invitation Homes and Blackstone buying houses. I've seen it. I know what they do. They are really, really big competitors. So I know what happens when they do. So here's 5 things that I believe or teach. I do want you to think that 4 single family rentals can change your life. I think there's too many people when I ask them what their goals are, they say 100 or 1,000 units. If that's you, that's an okay goal, but let's get to 4 first. If you're at 0, saying you want 1,000 units to me is insulting. It's hard. It takes time. You've got to learn your market. You don't even know what you're doing yet. So let's try to get you from 0 to 1, then 1 to 2, and then let's get you on the journey. I believe 4 properties changes your future. 4 properties changes your family's legacy. There's nothing wrong with 4. I believe, and this is my superpower, my strength, what I'm trying to impart, it's what I challenge you in my course to do every day, is it only takes 10 to 20 minutes a day to learn your market. More importantly, you have to look every day. Otherwise, the market's going to get away from you. You're going to miss something. You have to look every day. You have to focus, folks. Stop getting distracted. Stop thinking apartments. Stop thinking storage. Stop thinking mobile homes. Stop thinking single family, fourplexes. Focus, focus, focus. Start making progress. And then when you know it, you can expand. But what is this step 1 of the 3-step process to wealth and being rich? It's focus. You have to use your time wisely. You already have a full-time job. You already have family responsibilities. And if you want real estate investing to be your side hustle, focus. If you need help, spend $200 on my course, get it, do the work, join the Facebook group, and let me mentor you every Saturday at 9 a.m. Pacific in the Facebook group via a live discussion. Once you learn average, that's what you're doing in my course. You're saying in my market for this single family home, an average deal is X. It takes time. But once you know average, the world is your oyster. You only will do good or great deals. If you don't know what average is, you are walking up to the roulette wheel and picking a number. Sure, you might win, but you're probably going to lose. Cash on cash is the only metric that matters. I call it yield. I turn every property I have into a bond, so I use the word yield. How hard is my money working? What drives people crazy is I can compare a 512 square foot house, which is something I just did, with a 20 unit building. And you know what? I will buy the 512 square foot house every time. And people that follow the bigger is better mindset think I'm stupid or nuts. And frankly, I think they're stupid or nuts. Why would I buy an apartment building if the return is lower than a house? Do I want to say I own 20 units? I don't care about telling you my unit count. Unit count means nothing. Remember, very early on, you can go broke buying bigger. Don't believe bigger is better. Do your homework, do the work. Bonus. Most people, most Americans, most people that have the luxury to have internet and want to think about real estate investing, we have a spending problem. And I'm going to use me as an example. I got my first full-time job after college graduation. I think I made like 28 grand or 32 grand. I run out and buy a $50,000 sports car. How stupid is that? Well, my credit was good. I can afford the payment. But you know what? Then the insurance, then the tires. Oh my goodness, the tires. Dumb, 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 dumb. I had a spending problem early on. So why do some investors never start? Well, they think they have no time. Remember, focus, folks. 20 minutes a day. That's all it takes. They lack confidence in themselves. Too many new investors who have a job or the ability to save, they trust their 50,000, their 100,000 with someone else because they don't have confidence in themselves. I think that is such a tragedy. Folks, do me a favor. If you're still watching this, go ahead and give me a thumbs up. It's probably been 20 minutes or so. Also, if you like original content every day, hit subscribe. Just know if you do hit subscribe, you're probably going to get 3 or 4 notifications a day because I'm creating original content to help people. So if you do subscribe, realize I create a lot of stuff. So don't be surprised. All right. So again, going back to investors and why they never start, many of them spend too much time. You get lost in bigger pockets. You get lost in YouTube University. If you are ready, I'm here. I can tell you how to focus. I tell you the steps to do it. I tell you it takes 20 minutes a day. If you're ready, I'm here. Many investors lack focus. They're all over the place. I want to do this. I want to do that. I want to do this. Well, you're going to go nowhere. Life is busy and consistency is hard. Folks, if you can't give yourself 10 minutes a day, don't buy my course. I need you to work every day. I'm willing to take 6 days a week. Even God took Sunday off. All right. So 6 days a week. That's it. If you can give me 10 minutes a day, 6 days a week, join the course. If you can't, just keep watching YouTube. I put out a lot of stuff for free. Some folks want the easy button. Somebody wants to invest in someone else's deal. Finding a deal is hard, especially in 2020, man. The hardest thing to do today is find a deal. So many people just want to invest passively. Okay, but let's try to build confidence in yourself. Some folks are attracted by the shiny penny, the shiny object, the easy money. Folks, trust me, when people are out there talking about BRRRR, bigger is better, cheap out of state, it's not always true. It's just not. Some people doing it like the BRRRR strategy. It was a great strategy 2010 through 2016, 17. You almost couldn't go wrong. But it was a pretty tough strategy in 2019, 2018 when the market rolled over. BRRRR was horrible in late 2018. People got caught and they couldn't get their money out. So when the market rolls over, BRRRR is a rough strategy. So what do I recommend? Please, please, please pick your lane. Be a buy and hold, be a flip. If you want to be an LP, a limited partner, or a general partner, awesome. Pick your lane. Apartments, multifamily, strip malls, office, hotels, don't care. Pick your lane. Focus. Step 1 of being rich and wealth creation is focus. Learn your market. Learn what average is, and then only do good or great. That's the magic. That's what I teach. I believe learning your market is a skill. The art of learning average, just like a golf swing. The more you do it, the better you get. And I believe it can be taught and learned, and thus once learned, you can take your golf swing to any golf course around the country. Financial freedom is not a one-step thing. It starts with a better financial future. You've got to set yourself up. You've got to live below your means. You've got to be consistent. You've got to sacrifice, earn, save, invest, repeat. Living below your means starts with identifying need and want. If you don't know what I mean, take out your credit card statement or your bank statement and go through it with somebody you trust, your significant other or a good friend, and try to justify every purchase. Did I need that or did I want that? Add up all the wants, and that is money you could have saved. I believe the deal of a decade comes around once a year. If your eyes are open, the deal of the decade will come around once a year. It's been pretty consistent. I think the last 10 years, in reality, I've closed 8 deals of the decade. It's pretty amazing. I want you to know that if you're watching this and it's probably 30 minutes now, I believe in you. I really do. I think you can do it. It's going to take focus, consistent effort, and some time. It's the 3-step process to being rich. Just appreciate that. And if you do, I want you to know that I have confidence in you. So here's some dangerous myths, some bigger pockets in YouTube University. Cheap Midwest properties that pay double-digit returns. This one annoys me. There are so many East Coast, West Coast folks being taken advantage of. And frankly, some of it's our fault. We're almost arrogant. If you find a property in the Midwest that's been out there for 90 days and nobody else bought it in that area, it should tell you something. There's some hair on it. Just realize that if a property's been on the market 90 days today, there might be a bigger story. You might not appreciate the story if you live in California or New York. I'm not a big fan of rules like the 1% or let's go for the 2%. I think that takes the average person to a part of town they may not want to be in. I think it takes you to cheap. I think it takes you to run down. I think it's misleading when you treat it like it's interesting, it's helpful, but treating it like gospel is dangerous. Oh, bigger is better. Tell the people that bought Class A urban in San Francisco and New York that bigger is better. They are about to get run over. Vacancies are up, rents are down, cap rates are expanding. Don't believe me. I did a video with Jonathan Twomley probably a month ago. I think it's called Doing the Math. We showed you how easily we can turn a $120 million building into a $60 million building. All the equity's gone. The building's in technical default, and boom, gone. Being an LP is best for busy professionals. I don't like that. If that's your choice because you want it to be your choice, awesome. But if you are saying, I don't have time, I'm telling you, I can teach you how to learn your market in 10 to 20 minutes a day. Everybody has 10 to 20 minutes a day. I was in 3 continents a week sometimes, and I found a way to do it. So you can too. BRRRR is the best way to recycle capital, and it's easy. Well, in a market that's going up like this, it is absolutely easy. In a market that's like this, not easy. And we will have another down market, and BRRRR will be one of the hardest things to do. You can wholesale virtually while working a full-time job. I think wholesaling is a tremendous profession. It's a tremendous business, but it is not something you could do while holding another demanding full-time job. It's tough. You got to be on. You got to be able to take those phone calls when somebody calls. If you're spending thousands of dollars on marketing, you better pick up that phone when it rings or somebody else will. Let's house hack. Let's Airbnb. Let's Airbnb arbitrage. 4plex or nothing. These are all things I hear from people like they're the only option. Folks, learn your market, stay in your lane, and be consistent. Being a landlord, being a buy and hold landlord consumes too much time. Well, let's just say I have lots of units and I probably spend less than an hour a week. I do deals where I can afford to pay a property manager. Pay a property manager. It's a lot easier. So wealth creation is easy. Again, focus, save time, use your time efficiency. Don't waste it by going all over the place. Get a little better every day. Consistent effort is important. Time. If you do 1 and 2 long enough, I promise you being rich and wealth will come. So I wanted to cover topics that Sid gave us. He talked about California rent control. In California, we had rent control adopted January 1st, 2020. Really what it's done is it's hurt multifamily landlords, specifically small multifamily landlords who did not run good business. You run into lots of small, usually older multifamily investors who haven't raised rents in years. Well, given rent control, their property is now worth less. You are never going to catch up to market. In 2019, they could have sold their fourplex on future value. But today, because nobody can raise rents on the existing tenants except 5% a year, the value has fallen off a cliff. So rent control has hurt mom and pop landlords who did not run a good business. 2021 forbearance and eviction moratorium on single families. I believe there's a couple of markets that will be crushed. San Francisco, Orlando, New York, Chicago, Seattle, Portland. But most of the country going to do awesome. I did a video earlier this week called the 15 hottest markets. There's no chance, even with forbearance and evictions in those towns, that those markets cool down. They have 8 days of inventory. 8 days. 8 days average listing. Sorry, not inventory. 8 days average listing. Prices are up. Any inventory that comes from forbearance or evictions will be snapped up in seconds. Apartment investing in 2021. Well, if you're in the suburbs, rents are going to go up. I believe investing in single family homes or suburbs, it's investable. Millennials are going, work from home is real. But if you're investing in urban centers, vacancies are up, expenses are up, rents are down, cap rates are up. It's a recipe for disaster. There are going to be some landlords that don't recover and they lose their buildings. And then finally, hedge funds and single family. Lots of people are telling me, oh my God, the hedge funds are going to sell. It's going to swamp the market. Folks, you're not paying attention. You're just not. Hedge funds have already taken all of their capital out and they're still profitable. Hedge funds have infinite return. Ask yourself, would you sell something you have an infinite return in? Not very likely. There's no chance they sell. They may sell onesie twosie because they're not in the market anymore, but they are not going to flood the market and destroy their book. They bought them cheap. They fixed them up. They rented them. Then they recapitalized. They took all their money out and they still have cash flow. Hence, infinite return. They're not going to be a problem. In fact, they want to grow. They want to double in size. They are my competitor and yours too. So in the end, I want to thank you for your time. Again, One Rental at a Time is a tremendous book. Check it out on Amazon or Audible. You can follow me on YouTube or Instagram. Again, One Rental at a Time. I do have a website like everybody does. It's just onerentalatatime.com. But the most important thing I've created, the best thing I've created, is how to escape the rat race. It's called How to Start One Rental at a Time. I've kept the price low at $199, even though I keep adding. Now there's a private Facebook group, and I even give you a half hour of my time every Saturday where I mentor and answer questions from my students. If you like what we talked about here, you're ready to focus, you don't know how, buy the course, let's go. It's the best thing I've created. So at the end, remember my offer in the beginning. If you are part of a real estate meetup anywhere in the world, let me know. Introduce me, the One Rental at a Time brand, to whoever runs it, and let's get it scheduled. I will happily wake up at any time to give a presentation to a real estate meetup group. Real estate meetups helped me in the beginning. They helped me. They saved me when I met Bruce Norris and I got out of house to apartments. I no longer work. So if I had to get up at 2 a.m. to talk to the folks in Asia or Australia, so what? No big deal. Let's have some fun. Again, if you're still watching, thumbs up, subscribe. Have a wonderful day. Take care.